Welcome back to the podcast. Check this out. New setup. We're back at it. Going to be debuting a lot more episodes from here. Very excited for what we got in store for y'all. This episode, we've got my wonderful dear friend, Andrew Schmidt. Andrew and I have been friends since we were like 7 years old, maybe even earlier. We went to sleepaway summer camp together over in Yosemite. Never went to school together until college at University of Oregon. We share so much humor and music together. You'll see tons of funny, weird Easter eggs in this episode. And we talk about food. Well, we cook together. Andrew is a recent graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. He has over 10 years of hands-on kitchen experience, extensive background in plant-based seasonal menus, French culinary, Italian training. He aspires to share the stories and artisanal crafts that illustrate how food and drink is an eternal bond between us all. What are you, a poet? Stupid. We cook japchae together. It's a savory and slightly sweet dish of stir-fried glass noodles and vegetables that are popular in Korean cuisine. He knows his stuff. I learned so much from this episode that I apply to my cooking every day, even my 4 sunny side eggs that I cook every morning. Listen for some cooking tips. I also apply lessons from the kitchen into human development, leadership, and attention. And even better, follow along. Make it yourself with us. The ingredient list will be in the description below. Check out the shopping list, buy the material, listen and cook with us. It's pretty delicious. It's an amazing meal. Really loved it. Hope you like this episode. Very different, just cooking and talking and chatting. Hope you like it. Share with friends and family and enjoy. Thank you for your attention. And this episode is brought to you by the law offices of Larry H. Parker. Look, there's a reason why they are Southern California's #1 automobile, motorcycle, workplace, personal injury law firm. Our family never forgets to do their job, to fight for you. They've been successful in 95% of their cases. Over $2 billion recovered for 100,000 clients. Call, email, chat with them, larryhparker.com, 1-800-333-000. They'll fight for you.
We'll fight for you.
Hablamos español.
We're alive. We're coming at
And
you
we're
live. Live and direct.
Live, baby.
Live and direct.
Live
Okay,
and
so I did
direct.
pre-portion the scrambled eggs. Okay.
All right, so scram me some
I gotta
eggs.
get my get up. Scram me 3 eggs. There you go.
How do I
also got
hit
some
an egg,
mushrooms
dude?
already out here, like 6.
I usually just
Oh,
do this,
man.
dude. I hit it on the side, and then I go in, you know?
Yeah. You can
Is there-
do
is
that.
there a
Well,
better way?
actually, you want to hit it on a flat. There's a safer way. So you hit it on a flat surface, and then you can crack it into the bowl, because people don't realize you get salmonella from the outside of the egg. You get the bowl, you're creating more of an opportunity for that to happen. Do you see what I mean? Like the shell is
Yep.
getting inside of that space where the egg is going to come in contact with. I mean, these eggs undergo a crazy amount of sanitation and washing. So you're probably okay, but it is a little more sanitary to crack it outside and then bring it in. So another thing I wanted to say you should set up is have a little thing for trash, like on your station, like a bowl.
Okay, so I don't go to the trash can every 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got your scrammies. You got a little trash. We're going to do one for stock too. Because I'll go over things that we're going to use. Little waste items from some of our produce that we can repurpose to use for like stock later.
Got a compost, dude. I
Which
got
is
compost.
really cool. Okay, you got your scrammies. I'm thinking, so I just kind of have all of my produce out and accessible, you know?
All right there. We're ready to go.
And then soak the dangmian, the starch noodles here, the sweet potato starch noodles, which, you know, I'm going to kind of go over all the ingredients that we're working with here, just to kind of give a good overview. And I don't know how you like want to post the recipe or something. I mean, obviously we're going to go through start to finish, the whole process and what we're working with. But, you know, so there's a couple different ways you can do it. The way I've always done it is just soak them in hot water instead of like boiling them. So do you have like an electric kettle or something, or do you have like a pot you can just heat some water up?
Thanks for joining me, dude, on this podcast episode.
Of course.
Very fun, this idea. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but we're going to play with it and do our absolute best. Been thinking about this for a while now. Chef Andrew, Chef Drew, how do you want to go by? What's your chef name, dude? It's a very important thing.
My chef name, I like Chef Drew. It kind of rolls off the tongue pretty easily, I think.
Chef Drew.
But
yeah,
you know, I'm not into the whole like monikers. You know, man, it's relaxed.
I know,
it's,
Chef.
It's
I know, Chef.
Real easy.
Okay, Chef. And we've known each other
the whole time, man.
We've known each other for probably 20 years. Could it be?
I think it's more. When were we in first grade? Like
first
at least 20 years, but
7
wasn't
or
that
6.
Cyclones? Wasn't that yeah,
soccer?
So I guess
so over 20 years.
Sure.
And we're gonna cook something tasty, dude. You're gonna walk us through it. I'm gonna ask some questions, and let's get it going.
Oh yes, we are definitely cooking something tasty today. So what we're cooking today is called Japchae, and it's a Korean stir-fried dish. And it's used with a bunch of different vegetables we got here, so many different colors, and we're also using some sweet potato starch glass noodles, also called dangmian. And, you know, I apologize for any mispronunciations throughout this entire episode to try and get it correct. So we're doing garlic, a little bit of ginger. We're doing scallions. We got, I'm going to throw a little bit of spinach in. I've seen a bunch of different recipes that use a ton of different veggies. And it's really great because if you have veggies in your fridge, you don't really know how to use all of them. You can just throw them all together in a dish like this and create a really easy stir fry. So the first thing is we're going to soak our dangmian here in some hot water. So that's the way I learned how to do it. You know, you could boil it in water. There you go. Oh, you got the perfect kind, dude.
Got the perfect kind. Went to the Korean
market for it.
Went to the Korean market. Got it, dude. We got the hot water boiling right now in the back.
Okay,
that's perfect. Going.
Cool. So whenever that's ready, you know, pour it right over. I have mine ready right here. So we're gonna pour it right over.
I need to put it into a container though, right? Because I don't have a large enough container for the size of these.
Okay, if you don't have a large enough container, then you might want to just boil them for about, it's going to be like 5 minutes that you want to boil them.
I'm going to boil the hot water.
And you want this kind of
just pour it in.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, if you don't have a container that's large enough, you can just throw them in a pot with boiling water and boil them for about 5 minutes until they're nice and al dente. That's kind of the texture we're going for.
What does that word mean?
Means to the tooth in Italian. So toothsome. So when you bite into it, it has a little bit of bite back, right? Toothsome, to the tooth. Yeah. So okay,
and I could use that word also. I could use that word like in everyday life.
Oh yeah.
You know, I want. You know, I want. I want this friendship to be a little al dente.
That's right.
You could say that, right? You want the bite back. You want the tension.
I mean, yes, it's always fun to argue with your friends. We know this.
You have to.
Feel like you're totally wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. I love doing that. It's good stuff. Okay, so we're soaking our dangmyeon. Let's get into our knife skills. So we're gonna do some garlic and some ginger. We're gonna start off with our aromatics here. So you have some peeled garlic, you said, which is really nice. So I forgot to mention, do you have a microplane or a cheese grater or even a garlic press? Like something like this?
Ooh.
Microplane it's usually used for zesting. If you don't have it, it's not a problem.
Here we go.
Still mince it. There you go. Yeah, so use the smallest setting on your cheese grater there, or as Mitch Hedberg likes to say, the sponge ruiner. the more negative name.
Negative name, because no one would buy it. Sponge ruiner. Because I wanted to clean it.
3 pounds of garlic.
I would say use about 6 cloves.
So about a pound or pound or
no,
two,
just six of those. Something I'm really passionate about is food waste. So a lot of people, in this country, we waste way too much food. Like 40% of our food goes to food waste. And, we have to work in ways to be able to reduce this. And repurposing for stock is certainly one of them. And also understanding that like best by dates aren't, they're for like USDA structured logistics. So you can't, it's a suggestion. It doesn't mean that it's completely gone. It's wrong. You have to throw it away now.
And we know that the
means
USDA,
like, okay, it's
a corrupt organization. It's all corrupt.
That's right.
They have their self-interests, they have their goals, and they have their food pyramid. And I don't know about the food pyramid that much, I don't know about that thing.
It keeps changing.
But that's good to know.
Every year.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, you can cut around that, man. You don't need to throw it all away. You don't need to be afraid of it.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the Best Buy Day stuff, dude. I think I need to actually loosen the grip. Trust my body, trust my gut.
Yeah, exactly. So, it doesn't always work this way, but your senses can really help you understand whether something has gone past its prime. If it smells sour, if it tastes or smells acidic, those are really good indicators that something's definitely past its prime, and maybe chuck it,
And to know if something is acidic, I have to actually know what acidic tastes like.
Yeah, right, exactly. So just take a spoonful of vinegar, and be like, oh, okay. So that's definitely acidic. Wow. Yeah, just take some lemon juice and be like, okay, so if we're encountering anything of this nature, we should avoid that. Things will start to like fizz and bubble and basically start to ferment, and there are healthy, correct ways of fermenting things, and there are not so correct ways of doing that. So, all right, so
the garlic is doing all right. Garlic's doing okay here. It's a little hard with this little cheese grater, but we do have the noodles still going at it. I'm not sure how much longer they should be sitting.
Yeah, so you're going to want to like stir them up every so often, and we're going to check them just to make sure that they're not going over. So also something we're going to do is we're just going to shock them. So we're going to take those once they're nicely cooked and the right consistency and texture, we're going to shock them, put them in a colander, strain the water, and just run cold water over them. So that stops the cooking process there. And then we just hold those aside until we're ready to use them in a bit.
Going to the Korean market,
I've been
get the noodles was a very interesting experience. It kind of felt like I was like I was in a place that's very unfamiliar, and it felt like traveling. Like not knowing the customs, the culture, and it was very interesting.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun to go to those markets and immerse yourself in just completely foreign perspectives to at least most Americans, I think. Like looking at even the different like snacks, like what you consider as like snack food, really interesting. Yeah, I got these like roasted salted broad beans the other day. Like they kind of reminded me of like plantains almost. You ever have like plantain chips or anything like that? Banana chips, kind of like that.
Yep.
So that was interesting. And
we had like
I
shrimp
remember
chips.
Growing up. Oh yeah, shrimp chips, like a lot of fish flavors.
A lot of fish flavors
that you don't see as often, which is really cool. I also love the haichus, poke, ramen. Those are definitely more accessible to the American palate, I think. Just really sugary.
Yep. So I did the garlic.
So garlic's done.
Noodles are also ready, probably, I'm guessing.
I think they are about there. We should definitely check them. So let's check their toothsomeness. So let's take a bite. Just take one of them, pull it out.
Al dente.
Take a little bite. Oh yeah, we're good.
Get a little dente in it.
Oh, it's got some nice al dente, my friend. It's perfecto.
That's a little daunt for me. I like it.
Perfect.
All right.
We're going to take our garlic here. Let's strain our noodles.
All right.
Into a colander. If you have a colander. Let's strain our nudes. Let's send these nudes into the colander.
And these nudes into some cold water.
That's right. Send the nudes, bro.
Got this guy right here.
All right.
I'm just going to run some cold water over it. Is that pretty much the goal here?
That's right. Yep. And just kind of like tossing it, running in cold water until you feel it nice and cool. So it's not cooking. If it's continually staying hot like that, it's going to overcook. So we're just kind of running the water over it. So it's nice and cool, and we're good.
Back in college, and probably even recently, I never used a colander ever. Never
Never made pasta?
Never. I just said, why do I need to colander it? Let's just keep going.
Well, I've seen people, they'll take the lid of whatever pasta pot that they're using. They'll take the lid and they'll hold the lid and kind of like tilt it slightly over the side. And then you can pour out the pasta. Yeah, okay. And then you pour out the pasta water. Something I learned in Italy was like you can use pasta water in a lot of sauces. So you want to like keep some of that aside because it's kind of salty, it's starchy. So if you add it back a little bit, not too much, it'll be way too salty. But if you add a little bit back into whatever sauce you're making, that starch, the residual starch from the pasta that you were cooking, it really thickens up your sauce nicely. So it kind of acts as like a slurry. which is really cool. Okay, so you have
And that's a
you have
very
some
important principle. It's a very important principle of reusing waste. We think that the
there you
water
go.
is waste, but actually, if you
Yeah,
use a little bit of that waste, it creates the goodness.
there you
It
go.
applies to many things.
Now you're getting it, my friend.
Now I'm
See,
getting
there's
it, dude.
so many things. Now you're getting it. You're getting there, my Padawan. All right, so I'm going to show you this little trick with ginger here. Everyone's like, oh, if you use a peeler, you know, like get all this off. No, no, no. Use a spoon. Just use a spoon. And it comes off super easily.
Nice.
Just like that.
Yeah, I did
You
that
see what I
earlier,
mean?
and I made all of it into ground.
There you, you did it. You dried it and you ground it, and then
I
you
dried it.
put it in a trademarked copyright
Yeah,
little
and then
jar.
I sold it to McCormick Gourmet, and then I bought the product back.
And then you bought it. You bought it back. Wow, man. You know, just
Capitalism.
I would think just you could just do it this way. Probably be a little easier. Too.
No, dude, gotta make money. Gotta McCormick Gourmet.
That's right. Let's get as far away from real food as possible here, so
That's
we
what
can
makes it tasty.
make it last as long as we can, right?
So we're thinking like what
you can really
a
taste the
teaspoon.
capitalism.
Yes, dude. We're thinking like
So
a
I'm
teaspoon.
gonna do about the same amount. Yeah, I think do like a half teaspoon.
Gotcha.
Just because it's so much more concentrated when it's ground like that. But I'm
All of
using
this
about
stuff should be going into a bowl, right? This should all be going into one bowl.
That's right. So I'm keeping this garlic here, and the ginger can go into the same bowl. And I'm doing about the same amount of ginger as I am garlic, which I would say is about a tablespoon. So if you're using fresh ginger, we're going to do a tablespoon of fresh ginger and a tablespoon of that garlic too. So you are going to be using less because it's way more concentrated when it's dried and powdered. And I will attest, too much ginger in a dish can ruin it. For sure, I did that in college a whole bunch. Just be like, oh man, it's too much. Just can't get through it. Okay.
We're pretty good there. We're pretty good.
All right, let's clean up a little bit. Okay. Ginger garlic's done. Okay, let's do scallion next. So
Scallions, also known as green onions.
That's correct. The onions of the green variety. Oh yeah, it's a little Sandlot action.
Little Sandlot, dude. Great. It's a great pick-me-up song, man. We'll put that in there. I'll get copyrighted, but it's all good.
You play ball like a girl.
Oh, dude, be careful.
I think that's pretty offensive. I don't know, man. I don't think that would fly today.
It would not fly, dude. Do I wash the green onions?
It certainly wouldn't fly. You got to cancel. We're canceling Sandlot. Yes. So you're going to rinse them because sometimes, especially by the root, you'll see some dirt. I'll show you a little other trick we're going to do here.
We don't want to eat dirt, huh?
No, dirt. I mean, a lot of people say dirt don't hurt, but I don't really agree. I don't really agree with that. Because we don't know what else is in the dirt. We don't know if there's some E. coli living in the dirt. We don't want that. Okay, so there's like a film on the outside of these that you'll see as you get closer to the root. It's kind of a little film, and you want to kind of try to peel that little layer off. That's not really going to help us, but that can go right into our little stock pile. Also, some of the ends here on the very, very green side, we're going to get rid of the very ends. And we're going to add those to our stockpile as well. So show me your knife, brother. Show me your knife. And that's not it's not a euphemism. There you go. All right, nice chef's knife. Good stuff. That's definitely what
Right?
you're looking at. I think it's like a 9-inch, I think, about. Do you have a steel?
Yeah, dude.
It's called steel.
I'll show you. Okay, I got one other one also. I don't have a steel rod. I also have this though.
Ooh, that's a nice one. That looks like almost like Japanese steel, I think. You could use that too. So either one's totally cool. But what I would recommend is before you use your knife, you should get one of these. It's called a steel. And I guess it kind of looks like a classic knight sword with a hilt and or almost like a joust, right? And what this does, they also call it a hone. And that's exactly what it does. It hones the blade. So it doesn't sharpen it. A lot of people think it sharpens it.
Mm.
What it does is it corrects your edge. So your edge over time, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, or sometimes if you scrape your knife on your cutting board, it dulls it. And when a knife dulls, it means that the edge is slowly bending to one side or the other.
Put your camera up a little bit.
Slowly curling
Like
over. Of course. So slowly curling over until the edge basically folds on top of itself, and that's a really, really dull knife. So what this does, it realigns it. And you're going to come in at a 22-degree angle. So this is 90. You're going to half that, 45, and you're going to half that again and come in at 22. And you're just going to do a couple of each side. So this realigns. So now this will prolong the length and the life of your sharpened blade like so much. I can't even describe.
So you're saying
I think I just did
that we don't sharpen the blade when we're doing that. We're actually honing the blade. And the difference is honing a blade realigns the edge.
That's correct. Exactly.
Wow.
So it sets you up to continue to use that knife in the best capacity. Whereas
it's already sharp.
If you don't hone, yes, you've already sharpened it, right? And you want to use a stone for that, either a whetstone or an oil stone. And there's tons of videos online about how to do that. And that's the best way to really sharpen something. But before you use it, every time, hit it a couple times with the hone.
Yeah.
And it'll realign.
I see that that's a big metaphor also for development, because people right now are so addicted to like trying to get better, trying to change, trying to improve. And improvement is kind of like sharpening. You feel like I need to sharpen myself. Actually, you're already sharp, bro. Right. You just need to realign. You need to align your sharpness, align your edge. Don't need to get your edge sharper. You're already perfect. You're already good. Yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome analogy there. I mean, I definitely completely agree, because you're realigning yourself to attack a problem. You're realigning yourself to think about something differently, right? And you're not sharpening. If you over sharpen your blade, you know what happens? It just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You don't want to sharpen it all the time, because it'll just completely destroy your knife.
Same thing.
Don't need to sharpen it all the time.
You don't need to sharpen yourself all the time either. You don't need to. You're already good. If you do sharpen yourself constantly, then you're gonna get in trouble, because you're gonna get spread so thin, and it's gonna get narrower and narrower instead of aligning your
diminishing returns. Exactly. Awesome.
So how do I cut?
So we're peeling off these little ends here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on the very, very green end. And we're just going to take a little bit off the end here. Also, I wanted to explain a good hold for your knife. A lot of people like to grab the handle here, and they're using their knife like way too far back. So what you want to do is right at the hilt where the knife connects with the handle, you're going to pinch with your thumb and your index finger, right? And then you're going to wrap your fingers around the handle. And then this, so you're not doing this, you're not putting your finger, that's perfect, yeah? You're pinching right at that hilt, and then you're wrapping. So that really gives you nice control of your knife. Yes, right. Offer me money, offer me women. You killed my father.
My name?
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Okay, so we're doing about
let's see where
quarter
you're cutting
inch.
it. Let's see where you're cutting it though. Let's see. Yeah. Sorry, I'm making you
There
go
you
up and back, dude. I just want to get your
No,
pretty
no,
face in there, bro.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so flattered. So here we go. We're doing about quarter inch cuts in between quarter and half inch. So tiny little wheels here. You know, we don't want to make them too small or they'll break down too fast. And we don't want to make them too big. They won't look nice. They won't break down enough when we're cooking them. So, and you're going to keep going all the way until the root. Like this is how far you want to go. Just like a couple of little frills there at the end. People think like, oh, the green onions is just the green part. It's like, oh no, my friend, the white part is very concentrated flavor, almost more so than the green part. So you want to really make sure we're going all the way until the end and really utilizing the entire thing. So half of these green onions, we're going to cut like this. The other half, I'm going to show you a different cut, which is going to be for our garnish. So this half is going in a bowl right here, and that's going to be our aromatics, our base for our stir fry, which is called GGS, ginger garlic scallion, is used very often in Asian style cookery.
All in the same bowl.
So we're doing. You can totally throw them in the same bowl because they are all going in at the same time.
Sick.
Totally fine. Okay. Take the end off there. Throw it in the stock.
So you got to take off the little end up there. Cool.
There you go. Perfect. Oh, you're doing it. All right. Again, we're doing about quarter inch to half inch cuts on these, bringing them down all the way to the root. Nice little wheels. Perfect.
Right, sweet.
Okay.
And then these guys go into the garlic, the GGS as well.
Yes, the GGS. That's what we're going to
Another
start
GGS.
with. So the other half, we're going to cut as a garnish. And I'll show you a little trick that usually in all Asian style cookery, you'll see, which is called the bias cut. It's on a bias. So I'll do one. So it's kind of easy to see. And I will explain. So if you're aligned, like I was with the steel, you're at a 90-degree, right, angle.
Yep.
You're completely perpendicular to the scallion here. Now you're going to take your knife and tilt it at a 45-degree angle, but you're going to keep the scallion in the same place.
All right. Yep. I'll show you up. Yeah, I'll show you up here. Here we go.
Perfect. So again, your starting knife is perpendicular to the scallion. Now you're going at a 45-degree angle, and keeping that angle and the same placement of the scallion, you're going to cut the scallion and moving along the scallion. So you're getting these long hexagonal shapes as you're cutting. That's good. Yeah, exactly. That's perfect.
All the way up. All the way up.
All the way up.
All the way up.
I'm all the way up.
I'm all the way up.
That's right. He was definitely referencing cutting scallions when he wrote that.
Yeah. Garnishing specifically. Garnish scallions specifically.
Yeah. Bias cut scallions used for garnish on Japchae. So same thing. And then you know, if you can start doubling up, tripling up, so it's faster with your scallions. But it's making sure that you're using that same angle. And sometimes the longer the better. It looks really cool. When you can do like really long strips.
Wow.
Kind of looks pretty fun like that. So you want to keep that angle and you want to just go through all your scallions here.
Now I just quadrupled up. So I just went.
There you go.
And you know, it's a plus. There's a you know, it's gonna be kind of funky, but I've got to give it a go, dude. You said it. I got to try it out.
You got to try. You got to try. See, you got to realize your limits, right? You're like, oh well, I kind of liked it better when I was doing like 2 or 3. I kind of like the consistency a little better there, you know, versus 3 or 4. Or like, oh no, I think I can do like 6. Let's try that.
Yep.
You know,
like you said earlier, man. You gotta sometimes taste the acidic food to see if it's moldy. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit. Just gotta get your palate accustomed.
Yeah,
you gotta know the limits.
You have to know the limits of everything. You gotta know your boundaries. You gotta expand your horizons.
Yeah, and that's similar to the Eagles. You know, we're gonna reference a lot of music, obviously, because you know that's who we are. But Eagles take it to the limit. They were talking about how many scallions can you cut at once at that perpendicular, that bias, you know, that's what that take it to the limit was about.
See, I knew it, man. I just knew that. I don't know how, but I just always knew.
Gotta take it to the limit.
To the limit.
One more time.
One more time. That's right. We still got it.
Yep. Still got it.
Okay. Still got it, homie. Okay, scallions are done. Are you done with your scallions, sir?
We are down, dude. We're done with them. They're looking pretty. All
right,
you know,
let's go.
some of these can definitely be adjusted, but we're gonna do our best with this.
That's okay. Rustic is
separate
good.
bowl. Separate bowl for these guys.
That's correct, because these are going on as a garnish.
Yup.
Next song. All right, we're going
next song.
Next song. Come on, song's done. Next song. It's the one-note song.
The one-note song. We know that.
Tenacious D reference there. Love it.
I'm working with some baby Bella mushrooms.
Do you think there's
those are just
living among us? That'll do.
Probably. All right.
So
here we go.
We're gonna half these. We're gonna half
tell me
our
when,
shrooms long ways.
Is this how many shrooms we got here? Is this good enough? Should I keep going?
Good. I would do like 6. I'd do like 6.
2, 4, 6,
6 is a good
8,
number.
9, 8, 7. Let's go. Okay. And I should wash the shrooms off too.
If there's a couple trains of thought about that, and usually I don't. But if they're particularly like kind of slimy or dirty, then definitely wash them. But make sure you pretty thoroughly dry them with a paper towel. Because if there's tons of excess water, they'll soak up that water really easily. And then if you go to try to sear them on the stove, you're never going to get the correct sear on them. And you really need it to be really scorching, and water is like the enemy of a good sear, any moisture. So you really want to make sure that they're nice and dry, so we can get a good color on them when we're searing these bad boys off. Searing these.
Water is the enemy of searing.
That's right. Moisture is the enemy of searing, of the Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction comes from Dr. Maillard, who studied this reaction that proteins take on a chemical change when they're added to heat. And this chemical change results in this caramelization. That's that nice sear on the outside of a steak or like a burger. And you can get the same thing with the mushrooms.
That's why they have mushroom burgers.
That's right. Yeah, mushrooms add so much umami here. It's awesome.
Umami. How do I cut the mushroom?
Umami. So we're going to half these long ways, and then we're going to slice them. So our slices that we're doing for all of our cuts are going to be julienne. And that technically means 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch by 2 inches, but we're not going to be that technical, right? We just want to make nice slices. So picture an inch, half it, half it again. That's our dimension, right? Okay, so picture an inch.
Yep.
Half it.
Yep.
Half it again.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let
me see what
we're doing.
Let me see you rock it. Let me see what you got there. Let's watch that.
Okay. So also, what's interesting is that the word japchae refers to not only the dish itself, but also the way that it's prepared. So chae refers to the cut. The cut is julienne. So there's other dishes called they're called banchan, which is like side dishes, or I think ban means table and chan means small side dishes. So like small table dishes that if you ever go to like Korean barbecue, you'll get all these tiny little side dishes. They're usually pickles, so a lot of vinegar, and that acidity kind of cleanses your palate of the fatty meat that you're eating from the barbecue. So muche is like a radish slaw, and japchae refers to the cut that we're doing. So the julienne of the dimensions that I just previously expressed. So remember that, picture an inch, picture, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again.
Wow.
And that's kind of your 1/8 of an inch right there. So you want to try to keep those as consistent as possible. But everything is going to be cooked together. That's another thing. I've seen recipes for japchae where they cook each and every ingredient individually, which is a lot of work. But so we're not going to do that. Honestly, I don't think it's necessary to get to take all of these individually, because you can just throw them all together, cook them really hard and fast, and they'll get just as good of a flavor here. Okay, so we are going to cut our shroomage with that nice julienne.
And man, shrooms are some of the most interesting pieces of foods ever in history. I mean, the fact that they're fungi, that they have these networks underground, and isn't something ridiculous statistic like half the world is a mushroom?
Did you listen to that Radiolab episode where they talked about exactly what you're explaining, where they're saying like there's these connections between an entire forest where the fungi are communicating with each other over like miles and miles and miles and long scale. Like, I mean, you're completely right. The network that they create, they'll send nutrients to trees that are being affected by parasites, or they found like salmon guts in the roots of some of these trees that were being ingested by the fungi because a bear like went over there and just destroyed a salmon and left all of the guts everywhere.
Guts, yeah.
And the tree's like, okay, we're gonna take that now, thanks. It's so interesting. That's such an awesome episode where they describe all of that. But I did want to touch on Japchae as a history a little bit. So I said that it's not only the way that it's made, reference to how it's made, and also what it is. So Japchae is like mixed vegetables that are cut with the julienne cut. And actually, it goes back to about the 16th century or 17th century, I believe, in the royal kingdoms of Korea. And one of the subjects created this dish like on the fly for a royal banquet. And the king loved it so much that he promoted this subject to like Secretary of Treasury or something, like just because he created this dish. So
Yeah.
I might have a future in politics if I cook a dish for the right person. So just, you want to treat me right.
Improv it. And improv, because you don't know when it's going to happen. If he planned it out, he might not have done it well. But the power of improving things in the moment, it's either you make it or you break it moments. Make it or break it moments.
Yeah. You're completely correct. And
No
I
in
love
between.
those moments. They're scary, but I love them at the same time because it's really a true test of character, isn't it? You're like, okay, what do you got,
you have
man?
to go all in to really get the rewards of potentially getting Secretary of Treasurer. You have to actually commit to making it or breaking it. No in between. No, oh, it's good.
That's right.
It's either phenomenal or it flops terribly.
Oh yeah, and I mean, back then, a flop means you're dead now. So like,
You're
you
dead,
better cook
bro.
this right. If he doesn't like it, man, you're gone. All right. So, how are our shrooms looking?
They're looking tasty.
Nice. Okay, chuck those in a bowl. We're gonna actually just add everything to a big old bowl here of this nature, like a nice big salad bowl.
Including our GGS?
No, we're going to keep that separate. Our GGS is staying separate. Our scallion for garnish is staying separate. But our vegetable core here, we're going to throw everything together and we're going to cook those all at the same time. So next we can do peppers. And I want to peps.
We got some peps, dude.
Red peps. So let's take
red
a
peppers.
peek here. There you go. Very nice.
Red peppers, man. Oh man, we could have a whole episode about red peppers, dude.
I love them. I could eat these just raw. They're so sweet by themselves. I love making sauces with them, purees, coulis.
So you're cutting the top off. You're cutting the top off, and then you're chucking the little wastes into its own little thing for a broth later.
That's correct. So we're taking the tops and the bottoms off here. So I'm
interesting
only
move.
About like
interesting
an inch
move.
off the top and an inch off the bottom, and we're gonna throw that right into our little stockpile.
Okay. I don't know this move, but okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you this little technique we're gonna use. So you're kind of creating this little cylindrical thing. Yeah, exactly. Little tops, little bottoms. Yep. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're going to cut one of the slits here. We're going to kind of open up.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so you're pointing, like, let's say the top, you're pointing the top away from you. So your cuts that you made, the top one is pointing away. So now you're taking a little slit, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically unfold. So here, watch me do it, and then I'll guide you through it. Yeah, so we're going to unfold, and you're going to take your knife, and you're going to cut through this as you're unfolding
Wow.
it.
Wow.
You're gonna take out the core.
Dude. Oh my god, dude. What?
So that was kind of
Dude, we're just
sloppy, honestly.
opening it up, dude. We're just opening the book, dude. We're just opening the
exactly.
book.
Yeah, you're
Open the Torah, dude.
Scroll. Yeah, there you go.
Open the scroll, dude.
Scrolls, man.
Open the
We're getting into
scroll.
it.
Wow.
Yeah,
This is
nice, man.
amazing, dude. Oh, and this goes in the broth
awesome
too.
work. Yeah, you can keep that. I use that all the time, and it like creates this really nice umami flavor in stocks and broths. So we definitely want to keep those.
Wow,
so
dude.
Pretty cool, right? I love the energy.
My God, dude.
It's kind of mind blowing. So again, I'll explain it again. So we're going to take our bell pepper here. We're going to take the bottom off about half an inch, quarter inch. We're going to take our top, do the same, right? Okay, this little green nub you can just chuck. Can't really keep that for stock. It's too bitter.
Really? Okay.
These little tops and stuff, we'll throw those in our stock. And then, again, we're taking our pepper here. We're laying it on its side. The top side that you cut is facing away from you. And you're taking your knife and you're going to make a small little slit along the side. You're going to place your knife inside of the pepper, and you're basically going to roll.
Wow,
the
dude.
pepper as you're cutting the pepper, and you're going to roll.
It's truly amazing.
Thanks, man. It's a fun method. It really is. So, and then what we're going to do is, so if you look inside, there's still a lot of little white pieces, and those are not nearly as sweet and unctuous as the pepper that we're looking for in our dish. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our knife and horizontally slice these little white pieces out, trying to make as much little waste as possible with this, but we're still keeping this for our stock. That's okay.
Got it.
Totally fine in our stock. So we got two of these. They're nice little scrolls that we've opened. And then now you're going to say the prayer. You're going to start reading from our little Torahs. There you
That's
go.
some Hebrew right there.
Nice,
all right, so we got the scrolls. We got the scrolls open.
Okay. I'm cutting these into thirds, so they're a little easier to work with. So each pepper's into thirds, and then based on our perspectives, how do you think we're going to cut this?
I'm going to guess long and thin.
That's right. Exactly. Kind of the same dimensions, the same thickness as our mushrooms, right? So again, another julienne, because Japchae, it refers to the cut, and all of the cuts are going to be exactly the same. So we're keeping these long, we're keeping these thin. Again, picture the inch, half it and half it again, and then you get your 1/8 of an inch. Julienne. There, that one's better. All right, nice, man. Loving it.
Toss that in with the shrooms.
Toss it in with the shroomage. That's right.
Now let's go. Now it's go time.
So,
now we got some peppers to cut.
Yeah, there you go. Now, even faster way to do it is take your little peppers that you made, and stack them on top of each other. Make sure you got a pretty nice hold. You don't want it to be slipping and sliding everywhere. Something that's a good way to think about cutting is, and you already have a great grip on that I'm seeing. You're curling your fingers, which is awesome. So you're keeping those out of the way. Your thumb is behind your fingers, being protected. It's not just hanging out, right? So I've heard a lot of times saying, like, imagine your thumb is the quarterback, right? Now you got your O-line up front protecting your quarterback.
Sports metaphor.
There you go. Little sports analogy for you. All right, let's keep going on these. Yeah. So you see, like, we're taking our time explaining and cutting all these things, interstitially mixing in a little history and conversation. But you could see how this could be a really quick meal. You know,
Yeah.
you just stack all these things. You're cutting everything exactly the same way. So it's all pretty consistent. There's not a lot of crazy technique stuff going on here, which is nice because it's approachable for people. Okay, so we're moving on to carrots once you're done with those peps.
Yep. Pep's done, dude. Carrots.
Nice. Okay.
Carrots, dude. Carrots. You know what they say about carrots,
That's
right?
What?
You know what they say about them, right?
What?
The orange goddesses.
Really? What do you mean by that?
That's what they say, dude. They call them orange goddesses.
They call them the orange goddesses. I like it.
You know,
I mean,
they
help you see. They help you see the
see
orange
what?
goddesses.
See what?
In the sky.
See the visions. See the visions, dude. do we water? Wash off the carrots?
No, we do not need to because we're going to peel them.
Whoa.
We're going to peel the carrots.
All right,
I mean,
peeling.
obviously, if they're really gross, then definitely wash them. But these are looking pretty good. So let's just peel these bad boys, and then we're just going to throw away all of our peels, right?
Oh, we got a peeler, I think. Yep, we got a peeler.
That's good. That's good.
I think we do. I think this is. Yeah, it's good enough, I think. One of these guys?
That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm using. Yep.
Yeah. So you're just peeling
Look
away.
at us, man. Just peeling. It's very appealing.
Very appealing to peel carrots. Appealing.
Carrots. The carrot. So then we got all these peels, right? We're just going to throw them away in the trash, right?
No,
dude. Heck no, man. Put them in your stockpile. Stockpile them up.
Now, even if they have a little dirt on them, we're chill.
I would say if they're visibly dirty, give them a rinse and peel them and keep put them in your stockpile. But if they look pretty okay, you're going to be just fine. So it's a little different making stock with peels like this with different ingredients. Usually how you would make a stock is do like a combination of celery, onion, and carrot, and you'd cook it for at least, I think it's about 45 minutes to an hour. But you can't do it that long when you're using ingredients like this, because
Gotcha.
when you cook,
we'll have a separate video for the broth instruction, for our Patreon.
That's right.
People,
Yeah.
We'll load that up later. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm working with pretty long carrots here. I mean, this is probably close to 10 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to third these. I'm going to make about 2-inch amount here of carrot, about 2 inches. For both of these. Yeah. So about 2 inches, about a third. If you have smaller carrots, just half them. But just remember that our length here, we're trying to achieve the same length as our peppers. So it's about 2 inches. Okay, once you have those, what we're going to do is we're going to block this off. So take one of the ends and just holding it steadily, because it will roll. You got to watch out for that. So just taking a small little amount off of the end. So now you have a pretty solid flat
Tops
surface.
of carrots? Should the tops of the carrots go into the broth?
Yeah, you can totally throw those in to your stockpile.
The tops? Even the tops with the little root
Yeah,
thing?
the tops.
All right.
It's totally cool. So you're basically just creating a nice flat end to one of these. So again, this is facing long ways away from you.
Yep.
We got our little flat end at the bottom so it doesn't really roll on you when you're trying to cut that, because that could be pretty dangerous. So now, again, same cuts, right? 1/8 of an inch.
Ooh,
It's
that
about
last
an
one's
eighth
tough,
to a
dude.
quarter of an inch. So. Yeah, you're trying to get as close as you can, you know. You just want to be safe about it with this one because they can easily roll on you, you know.
Yep.
And I think I realized I said I was going picture an inch, go half, and then half. So that would only be a quarter. So you need to go half even further.
Half, half, half.
half, half, half.
Half, half,
That's right.
half,
So
half.
half, half, half. Half, half.
Half of the half's half.
Right. So that little end that you're kind of cutting off there can go right into your stockpile. 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. And if you have a mandolin, this would be a nice thing to use for that.
Like the musical instrument?
Yeah, exactly. Just because it's fun, you know, to have around.
It's a fun
No.
instrument, dude. It's like a little guitar.
guitar.
Bluegrass.
No, I mean like the blade, the Japanese blade mandolin. And I think I have one up here. Yeah, so you could. It's stuck. I'm not getting it. But that's an awesome thing to use for really consistent cuts and really, really thin cuts. But you got to be really careful using one of those. I've seen guys destroy themselves. I mean, I definitely have taken a nice chunk out of my thumb.
Do you know anyone
It'll just split.
do you know anyone that's like lost their finger from being a chef?
No, not lost their finger. Definitely, I saw one guy use the mandolin and his hand slipped down into it and it split all of his fingers like
dude, come on, dude. Oh, dude, no.
Hey, you asked, bro.
Oh, dude.
I know, man. I was like,
man.
Why did you do? But this guy was kind of like a masochist. He liked the pain. I think he liked thinking he was a badass, so he would purposefully injure himself and be like, "It's not a big deal." I'm like, "What are you doing? Why don't you do that to yourself?" Okay, so what I like to do is like line all of these up like this. They're a little thick. This one's way too thick. Oh my gosh. Sorry, chef. Sorry, chef. I know, chef. Okay. So if you see really thick ones, try to take them down a little bit. Like I'm doing here. But I'm kind of lining them up horizontally, left to right. And I'm basically just going to mow right over these in succession. So, I mean, you can stack them, but they're all a little bit different size and shape, so you're not going to get as consistent. So I kind of like doing this method because you get to approach each one by itself. So I'm going
so you're making
really thin. I'm going a little thinner usually than I would because carrots are so dense that I don't want, because we're cooking everything at the same time, right?
Yeah,
so I have them the same length.
Even.
Yeah, exactly. So if I was going to start with carrots, you know, you could do them a little thicker, but because we're throwing them out at the same time, I don't want these things to have way too much bite on them, too much al dente.
Al dente.
If you know, we're going to cook it all at the same time. So you're really trying to just go as thin as possible when you're cutting these. And they're going to have the correct length to them. Because you already measured those
mine's
out.
not going to be anywhere near as pretty as yours, dude. I'm trying my best over here, but
that's all I ask. Just try your best, man. Just try your best, and you know, just be safe and be slow about it. Take your time. It doesn't need to be perfect. That's the best part about this. It's not a very incredibly, like French refined style of cuisine. It's a little more rustic, and not to say it's not good. I prefer rustic dishes to these delicate, kind of like characterless dishes. Frankly, I like things that have a nice edge to them, a nice, good perspective. Which reminds me of something I wanted to talk about, which is when we were doing our garlic, I learned in culinary school, they'll tell you, okay, well, you can't, especially with alliums, so onions, garlic, scallion, you don't want to smash them when you're trying to mince them. You know how people will just like cut them up and then run a knife through them like all at once. So what that does is it creates the release of an enzyme that the onion thinks it's starting to break down. So it like kind of gives off this aroma and messes with the flavor profile a little differently. Either one's totally cool. But what I would recommend is before you use your knife, you should get one of these. It's called a steel. And I guess it kind of looks like a classic knight's sword with a hilt or almost like a joust, right? And what this does, they also call it a hone. And that's exactly what it does. It hones the blade. So it doesn't sharpen it. A lot of people think it sharpens it. What it does is it corrects your edge. So your edge over time, whether you're left-handed, right-handed, or sometimes if you scrape your knife on your cutting board, it dulls it. And when a knife dulls, it means that the edge is slowly bending to one side or the other.
Your camera up a little bit.
Slowly curling over. Of course. So slowly curling over until the edge basically folds on top of itself, and that's a really, really dull knife. So what this does, it realigns it. And you're going to come in at a 22-degree angle. So this is 90. You're going to half that, 45, and you're going to half that again and come in at 22. And you're just going to do a couple of each side. So this realigns. So now this will prolong the length and the life of your sharpened blade like so much. I can't even describe.
So you're saying
I think I just did
that we don't sharpen the blade when we're doing that. We're actually honing the blade. And the difference is honing a blade realigns the edge.
That's correct. Exactly.
Wow.
So it sets you up to continue to use that knife in the best capacity. Whereas
it's already sharp.
If you don't hone, yes, you've already sharpened it, right? And you want to use a stone for that, either a whetstone or an oil stone. And there's tons of videos online about how to do that. And that's the best way to really sharpen something. But before you use it, every time, hit it a couple times with the hone.
Yeah.
And it'll realign.
I see that that's a big metaphor also for development, because people right now are so addicted to like trying to get better, trying to change, trying to improve. And improvement is kind of like sharpening. You feel like I need to sharpen myself. Actually, you're already sharp, bro. Right. You just need to realign. You need to align your sharpness, align your edge. Don't need to get your edge sharper. You're already perfect. You're already good. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's an awesome analogy there. I mean, I definitely completely agree, because you're realigning yourself to attack a problem. You're realigning yourself to think about something differently, right? And you're not sharpening. If you over sharpen your blade, you know what happens? It just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You don't want to sharpen it all the time, because it'll just completely destroy your knife.
Same thing.
You don't need to sharpen it all the time.
You don't need to sharpen yourself all the time either. You don't need to. You're already good. If you do sharpen yourself constantly, then you're going to get in trouble, because you're going to get spread so thin, and it's going to get narrow and narrower instead of aligning your
diminishing returns. Exactly. Awesome.
So how do I cut?
So we're peeling off these little ends here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start on the very, very green end. And we're just going to take a little bit off the end here. Also, I wanted to explain a good hold for your knife. A lot of people like to grab the handle here, and they're using their knife like way too far back. So what you want to do is right at the hilt where the knife connects with the handle. So everything in that family category is kind of the same thing. So garlic being one of them, they were talking about that and saying, yeah, you don't want to smash it. You want to just mince it. And it takes like forever to mince garlic by hand without running your knife through it like that, to get those small cuts. It's crazy long time. And I was thinking to myself, like, is this really even that necessary? They showed us the difference in the aromas, and it's definitely present. But, I remember smelling garlic when it wasn't prepared that way and having this immediate nostalgic reaction, thinking back to when we used to go to Dodger games and get garlic fries. And I'm sure that they just used like canned garlic, or they just puree it in a giant food processor, right? But it was interesting to me because I'm at like one of the best cooking schools in the world. They're teaching me this really refined method, and I still have a deeper connection to garlic being prepared in the quote unquote wrong way than the right culinary way to do it. I still have this like awesome, fun reaction thinking about that.
What I was saying was that with food, it can be an artistic thing that even if it's crummy or if it's not even if it's kind of lowbrow, there's still this nostalgia feature to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think like everybody loves nice, good food, but at the same time, I feel like when you can cook the way that your grandma cooked for you, the way that your parents have cooked for you, there's something deeper there than the right, quote unquote, culinary way to approach something, right?
Yeah, I saw something one time that said watching the same movie over and over again is comforting. Now, even if it's like super bad, which may not be a highbrow Golden Globe or Grammy, Oscar. There we go, Oscar-winning movie, but it has comfort to it. But at the same time, I'm down to watch like La La Land or something that has Oscar-worthy buzz to it that is highbrow.
Right.
But they're not to say one is better than the other. I think there's no objective good. There's no objective quality. It's whatever hits you in the motions.
That's right. I mean, it might be perceived or as close to, this is objectively good, but it still doesn't hit home nearly as well as like what you're saying, like Superbad. I love that movie. It's great.
Love the movie. Love the movie. Love it.
It's amazing.
The intro is so good too. They're just
so
like dancing, and it's like a cartoon, but they're all like it's just their outline. You know what I mean? We'll link it up too. We'll put it in there.
We gotta jump back into that one.
All right. So where we're at now? We got the carrots. What we got going now?
Carrots. Oh, gotcha. I'm thinking I should probably throw these back in so I can have the mic closer to me, right? Does that matter?
Sure. I mean, either way works. It works fine. It works fine.
Okay, because I know we're gonna kind of shift here. I'm gonna move the computer over to
Pop them in then. Pop them in. We're good.
So that we can see what we're gonna be cooking over there. So
cool. Let me actually.
All right, cool.
We're back.
Okay. And next, we're going to move on to onions here. So we're just going to do one onion, I think, is probably enough. Maybe even half, actually. Let's just do a half because we got tons of scallion too. So we got enough alliums. Let's do half. So we're going to take off the root at the top. We're going to take off a little bit at the bottom, kind of what we did with the peppers here.
Put these, where do we put them?
And we're going to half it. So these, you can peel off the leathery parts, the skin, and then you kind of get this little top, right? And then you can kind of just cut off any of those little leathery parts. You can keep that for your stock. But if you have a little bit of that root and there's really not much onion there, you can just chuck it because you can't, I mean, I've heard of zero waste chefs using onion skins to make stocks, but you gotta be really careful. It'll make it really bitter.
Now, how do I take off the onion skin the best way?
So once you kind of just half it, you're going to half it like this. So you're going to have that root kind of facing up that you cut off, and then you're going to half it. Yeah, and then that'll be really easy for you to just peel that excess off there. And even if there's a layer that's kind of leathery, you're going to want to get rid of that too. You can keep the leathery, I guess you can keep any onion that seems okay, but anything else I would say definitely just chuck it because it's gonna be difficult to use for anything. Not impossible, but difficult. So, all right, once we got that, I mean, we can put one half aside because we're only gonna do one half, so you can just throw that in a little Tupperware plastic baggie or something. And there's a little piece on the inside, usually, especially for younger onions. It's called the germ. And we're going to remove the germ. So it's kind of this green little part. It's like one of the first layers. If you're looking at that open slice that you created, there's a little part. It's usually green. It's very small.
I have one really.
You can keep, so it's within that you just showed me. So it's a little tiny little piece. It's usually green. And you can keep that for stock, but we're going to try to avoid that.
Okay.
So great. Yeah. Now we're going to take off. We're going to kind of take the root at the angle here. So I guess like a 45-degree angle, just cut off that top little part that the root was connected to. That doesn't really break down very well. Yeah, that can go into your stockpile. That's totally fine for that. Okay, so just like with our other cuts, we're doing the tops facing away from us. Our cuts that we made on either side. So you're putting down the flat end of the onion. You're resting that on the cutting board. So you have this kind of dome going across on the onion here. And we're going to follow that dome with our knife. So we're doing the same cut, right? And we're going to follow the dome as we're kind of coming over the top, right? And then once you get kind of to the end there, you can put this part down. It's kind of hard to get all the way to the other side. You can kind of just rest that part down. That's kind of at the very end there. There you go. So you're kind of just following it. Yeah, exactly. So, yep. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So take that part because it's really hard to come over on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? So take that part and just rest it flat. Yeah, and then just rest it flat and then make the same cuts. Yep. Just to make it easier on yourself like that, Okay, so now we're just kind of breaking these up, throwing it into.
Easy.
All right. Breaking them up, throwing them into our pile. Oh, yeah. Very good, very good. All right. Now, lastly, we're going to do the cabbage here, Nappa cabbage. And I'm thinking really only about a quarter of this we'll do. We'll start with a quarter and see.
What else can I use the Nappa cabbage with?
Half this.
What else can I use?
Oh, you
that
can
thing?
make salads. Salads are great with it. You could even use it for like coleslaw. Coleslaw recipes you can definitely check out online. That would be really good. It's just a nice way to beef up your stir fries because we're going to cut this really thinly. But
Wash it? Should
I
wash
love a
it?
salad with Nappa cabbage. So what you're going to do is, you're going to take the excess kind of wilted leaves around the outside, and you're going to peel some of those off. And if you're kind of looking inside, you want to see if there's any dirt in between the layers, because if there's like a fair amount of dirt, you're going to wash that. But I think mine's pretty okay here. So we're going to half it long ways with our knife.
All right, half it long ways.
Half it long ways.
This is a beast, dude. Wow.
Yeah, you got a big one. So then you're going to take that. If you look at the inside that you just cut, right? You look at the bottom, there's a root. It's kind of a triangular root. You're going to cut out that triangle.
Mine's like a
circle. Stick your knife in there. That's cool. That's nice. Mine's a triangle. Yours is a circle. That's fine. Different shapes. Different peeps.
And this goes into the broth.
Yeah, you can keep that. You can keep that for stock.
Cool. Stock.
So then we're going to flip it back over, and we're going to quarter it. So we're going to take the knife and we're going to half it long ways again. So now it's in quarters. So we're just going to start with this amount, and we're going to check, because you want about like an equal representation of veggie for each thing. I pulled back a little bit on our onion here because we also have scallions. So there's going to be a good amount of alliums. We don't really need to have a nice equal representation of onions here. And I think we're using yellow onions. So just looking, let's start with a quarter. And we're going to be doing the same style cuts, right? So about 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to take it and cut it all the way down to that end. You pretty much just about use everything on here because we took out that root.
Yeah.
And, just make sure that it's sturdy. If it starts to roll at all, you can kind of reposition so you're not, creating a dangerous scenario for yourself. Just taking it pretty much all the way down. And if there's like some end pieces that are pretty robust, I'm just going to add that to my stockpile. Okay, and then we'll add it in to our veggie and kind of mix it up. And we're just looking for a nice equal representation here of everything. So I'm looking at this, and it honestly looks a little light to me. I don't know about yours because yours is a little bigger. So I'm going to do the other quarter that I just made. So it's going to be a half of the Nappa cabbage of my size, which I would say is a little more of a medium size, and yours is certainly larger. So
I'm going to do a little more too. I'm going to do a little more too.
Proportions. Yeah, okay.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah, feel it out, man. There's no wrong answer here. There you go. And it's fun. Like Nappa cabbage gives you a really good knife skills for those Asian style cuts, because you're really trying to make them thin and nice. Okay, that should be enough there. Perfect. Okay, so that should be all of our veg. I am going to just add a little bit of spinach into mine for some color, and my spinach is starting to turn a little bit. I can tell that its life cycle's coming to an end here, so I just want to try to use some of that. And certain recipes call for it, certain recipes don't. But that's the beauty of this. You can pretty much just about use any vegetable that you like. More traditional recipes than others, of course, but it's a fun way to kind of make medleys of vegetables.
Great, man.
Japchae meats, mixed vegetables.
Japchae.
Okay. Japchae. So,
all right, feeling good. Okay.
Feeling good. All right. let's make, so now that we have all our veggie here, let's make our sauce that we're going to season this with.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's interesting, but different Asian cultures use different elements to balance their dishes. So for a lot of Chinese dishes, you definitely see soy sauce, but you also might see bean pastes, which are leftover ferments from the soy sauce making process. You'll see oyster sauce, which actually comes from oysters. So they create different ways of balancing the different elements, which are umami, which is that meaty, salty, savory perspective. We have sugar, which can be used in the form of obviously cane sugar. In Japan, they'll use mirin, which is like a sweet cooking wine that they'll use. They'll use sugar too. Koreans use a lot of fruit juices. So they'll use Asian pear juice. Have you ever had an Asian pear?
Yes, I have before, yeah.
Next time you go, yeah, dude, they're so awesome. I didn't see any last time I went to the Korean market, or any Asian market. If you see them, they're so tasty, man. They're like a hybrid between an apple and a pear, and they just have this amazing crisp. And if you put it in the fridge and just bite into it, it's like the most refreshing piece of fruit you'll ever have. So they'll make juices from that. They'll make juices from plums, and then they'll also use cane sugar. And then you start going even more south, East Asia, and you'll get the Vietnamese, and you'll get people from Thailand. They'll use palm sugar because they're more tropical. So they're using the elements that are around them. So they use palm sugar. Okay, what do we use for umami? They'll use fish sauce instead of soy sauce. They're not all mutually exclusive. They kind of blend here and there. And there's definitely interesting histories of, like French colonization, certainly in Vietnam, which is how you'll get the banh mi. If you ever had a banh mi, it's like a sandwich, like a baguette. And they use like this really spicy pork in it and carrots and stuff like that. So there's a really rich history there. It's really interesting. But today we're just going to make this sauce. It's really simple. We're going to do soy sauce, sugar, and sesame oil. I've noticed a lot of sesame oil in Korean cuisine, and I love sesame oil. Such an awesome, deep, toasty flavor. And we're just going to create our sauce with it. A lot of people who don't understand how to use sesame oil, they think you cook with it, but you actually don't cook with it because it has a very low smoking point. So what that means is basically you'll break down the oil too much before it reaches the correct temperature that you're going to want to stir fry at.
But doesn't olive oil also...
So it's actually not good for the oil.
Olive oil has a low boiling point too, right?
It's the smoking point, and olive oil does have a lower smoking point, but sesame oil is one of the lowest smoking points. So actually what we're going to use instead, which is why I told you get like veggie oil, or I have grapeseed oil. These are some of the highest smoking points for oils.
What about
what that means
oil?
is especially coconut oil, I think also has a really high smoking point. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it's higher. It's perfect for like wok cookery and Asian stir fry stuff, because we're going to want that pan searing super, super hot. And the only oils that are really going to be able to uphold to that heat are really high smoking point oils. But we still want that sesame oil flavor, so we're going to flavor it with it. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cane sugar to a bowl, small bowl. And this is kind of I looked at a couple of recipes online. This is kind of what I honed in as the flavor profile. but you can obviously alter this. If you like it a little sweeter, you can add more sugar. If you like it more umami, you could either add less sugar or more soy sauce. And, if you love sesame oil like I do, you can definitely add a little more of that. I'm going to add a teaspoon of sesame oil.
Right.
To this sugar. And I think that's kind of a nice place to sit. And then I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce to this bowl.
1/3 of a cup. How many tablespoons is in 1/3 of a cup?
Oh, that's hard. It's easier to say, so 1/4 cup. So 2 tablespoons is 1 ounce. There are 2 ounces in a 1/4 cup. That means there's 4 tablespoons in a 1/4 cup. So it's a little more. I'm not so great with the math.
I got the 1/3 cup. We're
so
good.
It's 0.25. You got to go to 0.33. So it's just like another tablespoon, maybe.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah. So and then we're gonna take a whisk and we're gonna whisk this up and make sure that all of our sugar is completely dissolved in our mixture here. And we're just going to taste it with a little tasting spoon. That's nice. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. We're going to set that aside. And then we can start moving on to some of the cooking. We got to cook these eggs off. So we got to make egg crepes, which is going to be another one of our garnishes here.
All right. So we're done with the cooking.
Eggs.
We're done with the cutting, right? We're done with cutting.
We're done with all the cutting. Cutting is completely done. So we have all of our veggies here. We have our GGS. We have our scallion garnish, and we have our damyeon, or the Korean vermicelli. We have that already soaked or cooked and shocked. So now we're going to start building another one of the garnish, which is the egg crepes.
All right. So now we got to get the pans.
Yes. So you're going to need a non-stick pan, an egg pan. I don't know if you have a non-stick pan that you would cook eggs in. Perfect. Okay. And I'm going to shift our location over here.
Shift it, bro. Now, while you're shifting.
Shift it. Getting shifty.
While you're getting 55. Now, when you are getting over to this, can you touch a little bit on electric versus gas? I unfortunately have an electric stove, meaning now from the novice point of view, it's harder to control temperature. Things go slow. Some are better than others. It's all funky, I have my favorite stovetop, So touch a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I unfortunately I'm working with electric too. And it is certainly more difficult to control your heat. So when you have a gas stove, you turn up the heat, you immediately get the result, pretty much. It's almost instantaneous how you can control that output. This takes a little bit longer to cool off. So if you go too hot, it takes longer to get to the spot that you're looking for. So you have to be pretty precise in your temperatures, because if you go under or over, it takes too long for it to get back to that point.
Yeah. So
it's nice because what we're going to do with our stir fry is we're basically just going to go as high heat as possible with our veggie. So you don't even have to worry about precise, medium high, medium low, etc. It's just going to be crank it as high as you can, get your biggest pan, and that's how we're going to do that guy. But for this one, eggs first. So what we're doing with the eggs here, I think that's a good angle. There you go. Okay, we're going to go on a medium low heat. So I'm going at about a 4.
Same.
4 is about medium low for me. And we're going to get our eggs over here.
No oil.
Not yet. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of grapeseed oil. You could use a little bit of veggie oil. We're going to make these egg crepes, which is basically this really thin layer of egg that's going to cook very quickly. And you can put them on a plate, or you can just put them directly onto your cutting board, because we're going to end up rolling them up and we're going to cut them.
Cool.
So they kind of in like the same long strips, about the same size as everything else, like julienne cut. And it looks really pretty, adds a nice color. And I just love eggs. They have to be one of my favorite foods.
I have a bromance with eggs. Eggs are one of the, we know what it does to a human when they eat a lot of eggs. They get super strong.
There you go.
Eggs, we can say a lot about eggs.
Oh my gosh. I love how there are so many different ways to cook eggs. And I love how prevalently they're used in Asian cuisine, and French cuisine too, for that matter. But honestly, one of my favorite foods. I don't understand how people don't like them, but I'm trying to be respectful, but at the same time, I don't know if we could be friends if you don't like eggs.
I agree.
Good. I'm glad we agree on that. It's probably why we're friends. All right. So I'm doing like about a teaspoon of oil here. And I'm using the cap to measure that, which is not great, but it's all right. So I'm just going to swirl this around. So we're going to like a medium-low heat.
Right, we got that. Okay.
And once that comes up, so what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna pour a little bit of our egg in here, and then we're going to kind of swirl it around. And then if there's any excess, we're gonna pour that back into our egg.
Okay.
So you're not like creating this huge patty. It's very thin crepe style egg. So it's really not going to be very much. So once your oil starts kind of moving a little more loose, closer to water, then you can add that in. So we're going to add just, I would say, about a half a cup, maybe less, about a quarter cup of egg, and you're kind of swirling it around. Honestly, this needs to be hotter, so I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Let's go more medium heat. And just kind of swirling there. We're going to try to avoid scrambling because we want this to stay like a nice pancake so we can cut it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned my heat up a little bit because I realized it's a little too low, so we want to go a little higher. And we're going to start cooking a little bit. You'll start to see the steam rising up a little bit, kind of swirling around, make sure all those little pockets are filled up. Yeah, you'll see it start to really come together more. All right. So I'm seeing, yeah, we're good. So you can pour that excess back in there. Just want to try to make sure that there's a nice even coating on the bottom. And we're not even touching it with the spatula yet. You can kind of take your spat, you can go around the sides, kind of pushing it in slightly, but we're not really trying to mess it up too much here. It's starting to come together though, for me at least, a little more.
Yep.
Yeah, yours too, good. Because we're really trying to avoid getting color on the egg.
You want it to stay nice and golden yellow, not really so much that brown. You don't really want any caramelization on there. So the reason you pour the
mine's
excess
good.
off too.
Do we flip it? Do I flip it?
So you can flip it. You can try to flip it, or you can roll it too.
Bro,
So
look at
there's
this
still
flip.
a lot of like.
Watch me flip.
flip?
Watch me flip. Watch me flip.
Let's do it. Hey, nice, dude.
Dude,
Nice
I'm
flip,
proud of
brother.
my flipping skills. I'm proud
That's
of being
pretty
a flipper.
awesome, dude. You know, that's pretty dope. I don't even know if I can flip with this one.
I make eggs every
no.
single morning, dude. I make eggs
Such a
every
bad
morning.
hand. That's awesome.
So
So my flip failed. You're already a better chef than me. This is awesome. This is great.
Well, you didn't have to tell me that, bro.
So here you go.
All
You're
right.
kind of making your crepe. You're rolling it up. And then you're going to chuck that right onto your cutting board or onto a plate. And then we're going to go right back to the heat again. We're going to keep doing that.
Right, dude. Let's do that.
So
Now-
I turned mine up to like about a 6. So this is a little
Yeah.
faster. I'm realizing
have,
you kind of
like-
want I'm a little hotter here.
I have a good amount of eggs still. Should I just put it in
Yeah,
as much to cover it? Okay, it's pretty hot now, dude. It's getting real hot quickly now. So I might
Yeah,
even
good,
turn it
right? So
down
just-
to 5.
Throw a little bit in there, roll it around. It's starting to get a really nice bottom there. Yep, perfect. And then pour that excess back in. That's exactly what you're looking for. And you can go around the sides.
Yeah,
And
there's
it's
not
gonna
much
cook
excess
really
on mine.
quickly. No, good. Okay. You got a
Yeah,
good
this one
pour
was
then.
way better. This one was wow. This one was quick.
Yeah,
and-
right. So you kind of have to wait for that heat to come up to the right place. So what I'm just rolling these right in the pan.
Yeah.
here.
My
Right
mom
out.
used to make Swedish pancakes, as you know, and
I know all too well.
and she used to say, right, like it's always the first one's always the worst. It's always the second one that gets better.
I can't remember who said it, but the first pancake always goes to the dog.
Mm. Probably
That's just how it
Gandhi.
goes.
Gandhi.
That sounds right. Yeah. MLK, Gandhi, one of those. You know.
Yeah, dude. There's a great story, right? Making Swedish pancakes when my mom used to make Swedish pancakes every single morning. You know, I'll show my face for the story because it's a good one. So, you know, every
Especially
morning.
on Saturdays, though, right?
Saturday
Saturdays were the day.
We'd wake up super early and watch some cartoons. You know, the only time when we actually wake up early, watch some cartoons. My mom would make some Swedish pancakes, just little crepes with some powdered sugar in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much all it is, you know? And I remember
Super simple.
you spilled some of the powdered sugar, a little bit, very minor. And I'm like laughing at you out of you spilling the powdered sugar a little bit. And then I think I picked up my milk glass thinking it was the powdered sugar. Poured it all over my
It's like, just
and then
totally
you got the better
covered.
you got the laugh at the end, dude. You got the laugh. Do you remember that?
Of course, man. Yes, of course. Oh my gosh. That was a triumphant morning
Yeah.
to see you
great.
fail. No, it was
Especially
like,
after I was, you know.
yeah,
joshing you
exactly.
about it.
You're like, oh my gosh, what a moron! And they just poured all the milk just right on,
Everywhere, milk
just covered. And your
everywhere.
mom's like, what? Like freaking
Yeah.
out, like what's going on?
Oh,
And just your face like sitting there, your face like,
That's when I developed that face. That face is now
Yeah.
there's that face I have now, which is from that moment, which is cool. Like I'm a dum dum. I played
like,
myself. I played myself. I made fun of someone else, and the universe immediately was like, "Now you get it." You know,
Yeah, that was such a great instance of just immediate karmic consequences to that.
I went to the beach the other day, and I was like, someone else was like, "Oh, I forgot." Oh, we gotta load up our sunscreen, and I'm like, "Yo, it's 4:30. You can't get sunburned at 4:30. What happens to me? What do you think
Sunburned.
happens to me?"
You got toasty, dude.
My forehead got left in the microwave toaster, dude. It was bad. All right, so I just got all my crepes, man. They're looking really good.
Oh, nice, bro.
Really happy. There's a
Very
little bit
good.
of brown on this guy, but some of them are
That's all right.
even color.
That's good. They look really nicely cooked, not over. That's because you're just trying to avoid any color, because that also means they're a little bit overcooked. But honestly, that looks perfect. So we're just going to roll these up if they're not already rolled. We can roll them up even better and fold them on top of each other and kind of just layer them here. And we're just going to do a once through cut and just throw them into a bowl real fast.
All right, so they're facing long ways.
Yep, you can kind of layer them on top of each other. And you're going to cut these bad boys. Same dimensions as always for that Japchae cut. There you have it. And then you're going to kind of just run your fingers through them a little bit and just kind of spread them out. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Beautiful, long little ribbons.
Yeah.
Egg ribbons.
Yeah, so cool.
Right?
Little egg ribbons.
Well, egg ribbons, dude. Here's a ribbon. There you go. Congratulations. You win. All right.
Oh, dude. All right. I'm going to put it back on the plate that I put them on.
Totally fine.
Cool. All right. So these are going in last.
Don't put them back in the bowl.
Yeah,
don't put them back in the bowl that you scrambled it.
We're good.
Yeah. We're good. All right. Let's grit all of our mise. They call it the mise en place, which means everything in its place, which is why we prep everything out. Now that we have all of our mise en place here, we're going to come over to our stove because we are ready to go. Ready to cook. Ready to crank the heat.
What heat we going at? What we thinking?
Highest of the high, my friend. The highest of
dude?
the high.
Are we talking about? Because I go on my stove. I got
High.
one. On my stove. I don't know about your stove, dude, but on my stove, I'll go a little lower here. My stove goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then like Spinal Tap, they added a high.
Dude, your stove goes to 11.
I go to 11. It's higher than 10.
Your stove goes to 11.
But why didn't you just make the 10? Why didn't you just make the 10 as high as the 11? No, you don't get it. It goes to 11.
That's right. No. It's one more.
It's
one more than 10.
But you could have made the 10
you know what?
11. No, you don't get it. You don't get it.
No. Yeah.
So you're saying I should go to 11?
Go to 11. You should go to 11, man.
Dude.
Really? Crank it. This is Spinal Tap. Go to 11.
All right, dude. Okay.
I wish I could go to 11. I'm jealous. Damn.
Okay, dude. This is the highest of the highs. This is
going
higher
the highest of the high. Okay. That's right. And we're not putting any oil in this yet. We're gonna bring everything over here. So we got our veggie. We got our scallion, our GGS, so our garlic ginger.
Yeah, we got this. We got this, dude. All right.
There you go. Look at that. So what we're gonna have to do is, because there's a lot of veg here, we're gonna batch cook this. So we're gonna do 2 batches.
And where do I put it?
Maybe 3
into another bowl.
So you can throw it on another bowl. You can throw it on a sheet pan like this. Because it's just going to go right. Yeah, that's fine. It's going to go right.
It's going to shrink, right?
Yeah, it's going to shrink up. But we also don't want to overcrowd because it'll start to steam instead of sear. So if it starts to steam, we'll get mushy. We'll get gross mushy. We don't want that.
There totally. Okay.
We've all been there. We've all been gross mushy. Okay, so I think we're good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take half of our garlic and our ginger and our scallion. And we're going to add it in. So first, we're going to add a little bit of our oil. So this is going to happen very quickly, right? So you're going to want to first add your oil. So add a fair amount of oil so it coats the bottom of the pan. You'll start to see it's going to happen really quickly, but that oil is going to start moving like water pretty fast.
I don't know how much oil. I put in probably a tablespoon.
That's great. That looks great. Just to coat the bottom. Okay, now we got to move quickly. We're going to add our garlic and our ginger, half of it, and our scallion, half of it. Because we're in batch cookery here. Okay, and we got to move this quickly. So get either a wooden spoon or a rubber spoon. I would definitely actually go wooden spoon.
Got the
And
wooden.
we're just gonna move this around real quick. Okay, we're gonna toss it, move it around, and then we're gonna throw in our veg real fast. So a nice like handful or two of veg here.
Not
So
half of the
almost a
veg.
cup. I would say you could try for half. I would go a third, honestly.
Okay.
I would go a third, just because you don't want to overcrowd. So the thing is, once you add your veg, you got to kind of toss, because that ginger and scallion is still on the bottom there. And if you don't toss it, it'll burn. So you toss it up, right? Make sure everything's nicely mixed here. Very, very high heat, all the way to 11.
11.
Cranking it, bro. So we got our noodles here too.
And we're doing
Probably
the
gonna
noodles.
have to split up our nudes.
And for the
Yeah,
noodles?
Not yet, but we're gonna have to probably split these up so we can do like half and half, because it's gonna be a lot for one pan. So we're gonna have to kind of split them up and mix them. So tossing every so often on our veg here. Really hard and fast.
I don't know if I put enough oil in, dude.
You don't think so?
If I didn't, should I just keep it going, or should I add more right now? What's the protocol there?
Well, actually, we're going to add, there's going to be some of that sesame oil, right, from our flavorings. So I don't know that you really need it, because, you know, a lot of it's to make sure that it's not going to burn. That's why you have the oil in there. But there's so much moisture in these vegetables.
Yeah, I saw recently about how someone called BS on drinking like, 80 ounces of water a day. This health expert said, actually, we should be getting almost half of our water content from food.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because, I mean, there's so much of it in here, man. Just look at all this steam coming off of this stuff. It's crazy. But that's what we're trying to kind of beat, right? We're kind of trying to beat the steam. So it helps cook the veggie, but we also want to get like a little bit of color and, that like wok smell when you sear something so hard and fast.
That big wok smell.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mongo King big wok smell.
That's it. That's right, man. Love that place. We're looking for that exact smell there. Okay, we're getting pretty close. So we're gonna.
You're doing a little two-hand. You're doing a little two-hand one, dude. You're doing a little two-hand action, dude.
Oh yeah, gotta do the two-hand. Well, the thing is, man, I worked at this place for so long, this Italian place, and I would only flip pasta with one hand, and now I have like straight tendonitis in my arm.
Wow.
Because I used it so much that like my arm's like, okay, we're about done. Yeah, so now I only do two-handed flips. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'd say let's pull it. Let's put it in our sheet tray or our bowl here.
What's an indicator that it's ready?
It starts to wilt a little more. You'll see like the spinach or the cabbage start to wilt. You'll get some color on some of the mushrooms, the peppers, and you can even taste one of these. You still want a little bit of that bite, right?
Yeah, the carrots. Oh yeah, wow, the carrots are actually cooked. I'm surprised. All right.
Yeah.
Pour it in.
They're not, and it's going to keep going a little bit. Yep. So just throw it on your bowl, throw it on your sheet tray.
Spin it out. Make sure it's all. Yep.
I'm going to take my rubber spat here and make sure there's not a lot of residual veggie left over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw that back on high heat, because if there's still some residual veggie, that'll kind of burn once you put it back on there. So you want to kind of make sure there's not really a lot of stuff left in your pan.
All right. Now we go a little more vegetable oil.
Yep. So now we're going to go a little more oil, and the same exact process that we just did. So
second time is always better, dude.
That's right.
First time's for the dog.
So I would still reserve a little bit of your garlic, ginger, and scallions. So half this. So you have a little bit left for that last batch, right? And with this last batch, remind me, we're going to do something really cool here. So I don't know if you found gochugaru.
Yeah, the red flakes. Yeah.
That's right. So they are Korean red chili flakes. And that's going to give us a touch of heat. That's where we're going to get that from. And actually, gochugaru, I'm pretty positive that gochu, gochu means chili, and garu means powder. So chili powder, gochugaru. And you might have heard of gochujang, which is like a very popular fermented chili paste sauce that
I've never heard of that.
is used often. Gochujang is used very often in Korean barbecue and Korean dishes. And basically what that is, it's gochugaru, but they ferment the chilies that are used in gochugaru. Instead of drying them and crushing them, they ferment them. And jang, I believe, refers to both a sauce and also to fermentation. So that's right. Gochujang is the fermented. Doenjang is soy sauce. I'm pretty positive. Doenjang, which is also, fermented soy sauce. Okay, so once again, high heat, tossing every so often. But you also don't want to you don't want to toss too much, because then you don't allow your veggies to kind of caramelize on the bottom there. So it's often, but not too often. Okay. Getting close to the end here. I'm hungry. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I'm just gonna throw this in a giant old bowl. Finished.
So this is not my last one though. I still have more in here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, just at the end, we're gonna toss it in a big old bowl together, and that's how we're gonna serve it. Because japchae is usually, as many Korean dishes are served, family style. So there's like a giant amount of food in a big old plate. It's not like individually plated dishes.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I appreciate about the cuisine. It's very family oriented. And japchae, as well as many other dishes. I think jjigae is another one, it's like a birthday stew. I could be wrong about that, but I think
it's amazing.
Japchae.
It's amazing how after a while the steam kicks. It starts to kick. It finally it started to cook the onions or whatever is the most watery. You just start to see an increase in steam eventually.
Oh yeah, well everything starts to wilt a little more. You start to see the mushrooms change in colors a little bit. The onion definitely, the cabbage for sure starts to break down a lot. So we're getting pretty close. This is a little smaller of a batch, so I'm going to pull it pretty soon here. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure japchae is usually served during celebrations, like the Harvest Festival and the Korean New Year. But it can also be served as a banchan, that side dish that I was talking about earlier. Okay.
All right, looks good.
Pulling it.
All right, last round.
Last round. And then we got to pull it all together and season it with our sauce.
All right, so now vegetable oil.
Same thing. So this time I would get your gochugaru.
Yep.
Do you have it close?
Oh, let me get the...
And I would throw in like a tablespoon right into the oil. You're gonna fry that. You're gonna fry that chili right off there in the oil.
A tablespoon, huh?
Oh God. Yeah, it's a good amount. It's a fair amount, but we're gonna have a little bit of heat in here. We got a lot of veg, and we got a lot of You got a lot of noodles too. So, and then same thing, add your GGS
Oh, dude.
right into that. Good heat, smells. That's good. If it looks burnt, just wipe it out and put a little more oil and put a little bit more chili. But if you think it doesn't smell burnt or look burnt, then you're good.
It looks.
But you just want to toast that oil. You want to toast that. Does it look burnt?
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Okay, ouch. Oh yeah, no.
Okay, there we go. Better.
Nice. Okay. There you go. And tossing. Yeah. That's the thing. Korean food is spicy, my friend. Spicy. You know, we can mess with that, but I know a lot of Koreans at culinary school that just would eat the hottest stuff. Man. They like spicy foods. Okay. Good. So what we're going to do as we're approaching the end of this batch is we're going to add our veggie back in, and we're going to add, I think, half of the noodles is probably a good place to start. So I don't want too much noodle, but it's probably like a 2/3, 1/3 representation veggie to noodle. So that's why this is a lot easier if you use a wok, because you'll have a lot more room.
Yeah. Yeah. Next time we'll get one of those giant woks, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Crank it to 11 with the biggest wok. Because it's going to be difficult for us to maneuver. So if we have some tongs, that'll definitely help.
I do.
All right, we're getting closer here.
Yeah, I've got tongs.
Close. Woo. Nice. Yeah, that'll help us kind of fold everything in.
Yeah, I can see the reddish tint on this one way more on the cabbage. It's very red.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. Okay, so I think we're about good to go. I'm going to add my veggie back in here.
Okay.
I'm going to toss that up. Equally distribute my spice.
I could use a little tong action, huh?
Yeah, I would recommend tongs. That's easy to kind of fold everything over upon itself. Yeah. Very good, very good. So we're going to have lots of leftovers, which is great. Because you can also eat japchae cold. It doesn't have to just be hot, which is nice. Very versatile. So, getting close here. Pulling it together. All right. I'd say we're about good. Let's add our nudes.
Them nudes.
The nudes. Okay.
How much?
Holding the nudes. I start with half your nudes.
Oh, I'm using my hands, man. That's too hard. Nudes are pretty tough.
Yeah, we probably could have thrown a little bit of oil on this. They don't stick together nearly as much. I probably should have recommended we did that, but honestly, they're kind of separating out here. Just have to kind of fold them in.
Keeping the high heat, huh? We're keeping the high heat going.
I was just about to say, at this point, we can kill our heat, and our residual heat should carry us through. Although we do want to cook some of this sauce off. Never mind. So keep that high heat. We're going to add our sauce here.
More nudes or no nudes? No more nudes.
So you want, like, I would put a little more nudes in there. Did you already fold them in?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want a good, like, at least a half representation nudes to veggies, but probably more like a 2/3, 1/3 veggie, or sorry, 2/3 nudes to 1/3 veggie.
The nudes are very hard to break up.
Yeah, once they heat up a little bit, they're starting to kind of fall apart.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But yeah, I think next time just toss once you kind of drain them and
The oil will help. Huh?
once you shock them, yeah, a little bit of that veggie oil. So I'm adding my sauce here, and I just want to, because I don't want that to be, and I want it to kind of cook into the noodles a little bit. I want to kind of cook into the veggie. So I'm keeping that heat. I'm just going to go for another like 10 seconds, and then I'm just going to kill the heat.
Sauce time.
Yeah, add your sauce, definitely. And then go for like another 10 seconds. Once you see that it's not really pooling on the bottom anymore, give it a couple flips, then you can kill it. And that residual heat will carry it on because, like I said before, especially with electric stoves, these guys take a long time to cool down. Okay, so I'm about good here. Add the rest of that.
Oh yeah, mine's coming in, dude.
Sauce there. Yeah, right. Smells are coming together. It's all kind of amalgamating into one giant noodle dish.
Wow,
Okay.
dude. All right, Heat.
Yeah, right?
Carry us home. Carry us home, Heat.
Carrie, take me home. Don't you want to go home?
Go home, Heat.
Too good for your home?
You got to go back to the Shire, Heat.
That's right. The Shire. Sam. Oh, Sam. All right. I'm looking good here. I'm going to plate, my friends. So let me shift locations again. I'm coming back. Where are my tongs? What did I do with them? Wow. There they are. Okay. So straight in with the nudes. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, yes. Loving it.
All right.
Loving it.
And then you're going to put it into a
Take your
plate.
tongs, put it in the big old bowl.
Get my favorite bowl right here. It's from
There you
IKEA.
go.
It's 12011, whatever that means. But I love this bowl, dude. I only have one of these, and I love it. It's my favorite bowl.
There you go. Very nice, sir. Very nice. So I'm going big old bowl here. Done with that.
Wow, it's got a heavy. It's good. Okay.
All right. Gonna have lots of leftovers, friend.
Now, should I put the
Eating
whole
some-
thing in here, or should I leave some in the? Can I leave some in the stove, or should I just like try to get it all out?
I would take it off the stove. You can. I mean, you probably want to. Yeah, I would put it in a bowl and take it off the stove because it'll continually cook, and you don't want that if it's in that pan, and especially if it's on the burner still. So now that we're here, we're going to garnish. So we're going to need our scallions that we cut on a bias. We're going to need our egg crepes, and we're going to need sesame seeds for sure.
All right.
I don't even think do I have chopsticks? If I don't have chopsticks, oh my gosh, despicable. Despicable. I should quit. I'm gonna have to taste this with a fork. Sorry,
Right.
everybody.
Okay,
I
well,
apologize.
we put it in a bowl. Whew. Hot bowl, hot bowl. Okay.
Yeah, probably a little hot, right? You can still use your IKEA bowl if you want to make a small
we
portion
will.
for yourself.
We will. We'll use that
Good,
later.
all right.
Right now, we're going to transfer to this guy. Okay. We're set.
So if you're going to make a small little portion for yourself, then you're good. But so this is usually served giant family style, kind of like how you have right there. So you can take, we're going to do our egg crepe and just kind of garnish the top with that. We're going to do our scallion. You don't need to use all the egg. That's fine.
Okay.
Yep. Scallion and sesame seeds. Oh yeah, buddy. That's looking good.
Wow.
There you have it, folks.
That's a beauty. Japchae.
Japchae. Now we gotta taste it. Make sure everything came out. Can't believe I don't have chopsticks right now.
I bought tons of chopsticks.
Nice.
And
I should have done the
from
same.
Amazon, and I only have 4 left after buying like a 30 pack.
Nice.
So, don't know
Every
where they
time
went.
I order Asian
All right,
food,
man.
Chinese food, what have you, I try to grab like a ton of them.
So
But I'm out
yeah,
right
let's
now. All right, let's
lift up
dig
the
in.
camera. Let's lift up the camera a little bit to see your reaction, man, and
Oh yeah.
let's see what it is.
Let's
I'll
take a
bend over
bite,
bit here.
friend.
All right. Get a little of
Take a
everything in
nice
there.
bite of that. Make sure you kind of have a little bit of everything. It looks really hot.
Just
It's really hot.
Wow. Wow. Perfect amount of flakes in there for me, the chili flakes, because I can taste it, but it's not overwhelming. It distributed pretty well.
It seemed like a lot. Yeah, it seemed like a lot, but you have a ton of veg and noodles that it's distributing into. Yeah, exactly. So it's like a little bit of heat at the end. There's a nice sweet savory balance. Honestly, I think it could use a touch more sesame oil, which I'm just going to kind of drizzle over the top here. I'm just a hound for this stuff too. So I love it so much.
Wow, and the red peppers are still pretty al dente.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wow, man.
Everything's you want a little bit of bite to everything still, and there's just so much going on in here. But I mean, we kind of dragged it out a little bit because we were talking in between and having fun and schmoozing like we always do. But this can be really quick, really fast meal to do, and it's all the same cuts. Very, very simple, pulling it together. You saw, even if you don't want to make this much, if you don't want to do batches, you could even be faster. So, yeah, man.
This is fantastic. This is just one entree in a plethora of other entrees for a celebration meal.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy this in a nice little bed, in a little room. Put some vinyl on, maybe. What record would go best with this?
There you go. That's a good question. I mean, right now, I'm in a huge lo-fi, just phase. I've been loving lo-fi music. I love Japanese lo-fi. I love, any kind of nice boom bap for a quick nap, as they call it. So I think that would be pretty nice and mellow,
Yeah, my
this
favorite
would be really
lo-fi
good
artist is Joey Pecoraro.
Okay.
I've heard him, yeah.
Yeah, I think I started following him after I saw you were checking him out.
Yeah, he's good.
I like his stuff a lot. I just listen to tons and tons of playlists of lo-fi music, and it's just something really nostalgic and kind of like homey about it. And this kind of has some of those same elements. Yeah, exactly. Like, this could be, put on some lo-fi on a rainy day, look out the window while you eat your japchae. There you have it, son.
Yeah, man.
Well, thanks for following me along on this crazy adventure, man.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
It was
Thanks
fun.
for joining here. Maybe we'll have you on another time where we just chat about cooking and food and stuff. This was an awesome thing. I hope people follow along with this. And I'll link to your Instagram in the beginning and your intro so people can follow along your journey, dude. But I just want to also say, as we exit this the podcast episode, I just want to say, man, that I'm like very proud to be your friend and see you become this amazing chef and put your passion for cooking and really making it complex and going deep into it. Like, and it shows that you know your stuff, and it's really cool, man. I'm just like really proud to be your friend, to see you excel at this like highest level. It's awesome to see, man.
Thank you, dude. That's so kind of you to say that. And, I really appreciate it. I'm glad to see that, you're picking up on a lot of hard work I tried to put into understanding a lot of things. There's so much left to know about everything. And I think that's, to have that humble quality of, I know nothing, but I'm still trying to understand different cultures, different flavors, different techniques.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps us feel closer as people. I think it's kind of a difficult thing right now in the culinary world and in media and art in general, is that there's a lot of people pointing fingers and calling cultural appropriation and drawing lines in the sand. And that creates distance between people. And I'm not saying, like, I can definitely see how, that could be a problem in some instances. But I think if we could all realize more that, we're just in the sandbox and we can all play together instead of drawing lines in the sand about you can't cross over here. Let's try to get closer as people. Let's try things like this out. Let's experiment. Let's be respectful to the roots. So I always try to understand a little bit about the history of what I'm cooking, the cultural applications and instances. And thank you so much, dude. Honestly, I've been following you on your journey too. And
it's about you, dude. It's about you, dude.
No. Honestly, I've been following along, listening to a lot of podcasts, and to see you kind of blossom as a person has been incredibly rewarding. And I wish you all the best, man. You're already on this awesome road, and I'm glad we could kind of intersect here for a minute.
Very
a little more
cool.
than a minute.
Well, enjoy the food. For those who followed us along, enjoy the food and stay tuned for more. And that's about it from us.
All righty. Thanks a lot, bud.